GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. Action, Dabatola, Toki in the zone. Breaking down the latest, straight to your phone. From Web 2 shifts to Web the waves. News, deep dives, hot takes for days. Tech's evolving, the world's in spin. Markets move, let's lock it in. Gen Z's here, no time to snooze. Tune in now, get the news. GM. Wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. GM, start the show. GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, stay in the know. GM, start the show. GM, let's go. Web 2, stay in the know. GM, start the show.
GM, everyone, what's going on? Toki, how you doing?
Well, I'm back. I'm here today. So congratulations, you had me.
Nice.
And then we lost action.
Yeah, we lost
not
action.
really.
No, he's in the background. He's going to help with a few things, but we'll talk a little Bitcoin, a little bit about Robinhood, and also I'm pushing the stream actually through the Arena app for the first time, so maybe that's working. So I'm the guinea pig testing that out for anyone who's actively using that app. And,
okay,
maybe we'll all start pushing the feed through there. So, yeah, but it's funny. We're actually all back home at our studios, at our places. We've all been juggling, getting sick or fighting off being sick, catching up with things. And I don't think all three of us have actually synced up yet in a stream, since we've all been stateside, like without me being potato on the road or something else happening or you gone. So maybe, just maybe in the next couple days, all three of us will be here at the same time, and maybe even a guest or two. We'll see.
Maybe even a guest this week still.
Yeah, still. It could still happen. The thing is we did have one guest, kind of going to push that off with scheduling and a couple things, but we've talked to so many people, and when we're in Dubai, like tons of people want to get on stream and we're going to collaborate. It just hasn't happened yet because we got to follow up and be like, all right, let's actually schedule this. And I think everyone is just
confirmed it works.
Arena. Oh, okay.
That's
nice.
Pretty cool. I don't know. Sorry for anyone that hasn't ever seen the Arena app before. I actually wanted to see if you could actually go live, and he really was testing it out today. This is actually impressive. My bad, man. I just want to let you know.
Well, all right. Well, cool. Hey, it's pushing through there, and that works. It's good to see another platform. I know that it's had its waves with, a few months back, a bunch of people were using it, then it dies down, and then a few more jump on, and we'll just see the direction. I think as AVAX and the market kind of moves forward, more people will migrate into there. And I also think with how much gaming is being focused that I've seen on Avalanche, that will go hand in hand. A lot of people will use like the streaming feature probably with gaming and lots of different things. So I think that'll just continue to grow. Right now, though, we've had this last week of the market being kind of up, but we've really had a few months after January of it just kind of boring, kind of sucks. So I mean,
stay boring. It's scary for people.
Yeah, I mean,
some people sold off, and they were
Well,
they missed out on this upward trend. Let's just say that for sure. I mean,
I think
sure, plenty of good buying opportunities, but at the same time, like we saw people absolutely scared of the marketplace as a whole.
new people who came into the market after the election, who jumped in, maybe saw stuff take off, didn't experience what a lot of us have over the years, which are those huge days or weeks or months where things are dumping and having that volatile of movement. People aren't used to seeing a 30% drop like overnight. And I think a lot of new people came in, things were getting all heated, everyone's getting FOMO, buying in, and then like, where did it go? And a lot of people get scared. You're right, exit. Some are just really worried and underwater, and now it's going to start making its way up. I think we'll have a May month that it's better than previous, but I still think that we're going to have a kind of boring summer. I've kind of written things off to the fall, to be honest.
Are you? I just don't think that this is currently sustainable. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna last up here. I think it's gonna drop back down again. I don't know by how much. I think it's gonna drop under 100K. I just don't think that it's currently sustainable right now. Because like we're not really seeing
May 13th.
we're not really seeing
really
any
never
like
blue month.
movement. Like there's no real traction anywhere. There's not like a lot of purchasing going on.
Well,
I was
I
in
saw
a
something
space
about,
yesterday where people were getting
wasn't there a
scared about
billion
like the
sell-off?
halving prices coming up.
I thought there was I saw something about like $1 billion worth of Bitcoin sold off through like Coinbase or something yesterday. But I think you're right. Like, I mean, look, we're May 13th. We're a little under the halfway point of May. May's supposed to be this sell in May, walk away type of routine, but Bitcoin just pumped up to 105 and change and then drop back down, and now we're at 103. I'm not saying that 103, 104 is bad. We're not at all-time highs. I don't know. Maybe we hit an all-time high real quick at May and then it drops down over the summer, like you were saying, we get under 100K again, and then in the fall we're good.
As Action put it right there, if we're over 100K without hype, isn't that a good sign? I'm not sure if it is or not.
It's not good or bad. I mean,
but that's kind of like worse in my mind, because we're over 100K and we don't have like the hype that people were expecting by any means. Like when we're over 100K, you're expecting people to be really, really like, oh yeah, let's buy, let's get into this.
I could argue this either way very easily. You know what I mean, right? I mean,
that's fair. No, that's fair.
Look,
it don't even start with me Action on that's fair. I know you just put a bingo card down.
When there's hype and you got that FOMO and there's all these people who aren't bought in or hearing about it and they're seeing how much movement is going, and then they start aping in and people start aping in, and it keeps driving that price up for a while. You don't know how long that could go, right? And maybe things go up. But if no one's talking about it, right? Hypothetically, no one's really talking about it. There's not much hype. Does that just mean everyone who's invested in it is just kind of holding? There's not much, volume or transactions necessarily going. It's at this level where there's not a bunch of people coming on. There's not a bunch of people selling off. So it's just sort of,
stagnant
a little bit. And I'll use stagnant very lightly here because it takes a lot to move Bitcoin with, you know what I mean? Like to move it a couple thousand points, it takes a lot of it. It takes a lot. So for it to be stagnant, there could still be decent amount of transactions going on in both directions, but just not pushing the needle much further,
Do you think it's going to take people selling off like their back end stores? Like, do you think we have to run out of the early mined Bitcoin before we're going to see true price action?
Well, that brings a good point with the availability and the supply on central exchanges. And, you hear this I've heard this half a dozen times in the last 6 months. We're at lowest supply levels or critical supply levels. And then I hear that for a few days, and then I don't hear much of that anymore for another 3 or 4 weeks. And then I hear it again. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but we do know there's a set supply of Bitcoin. There's so much of it lost. in wallets that have been lost and things. So there's only so much that we know has been mined. There's only so much we know that's in wallets. You know what I mean? Like it should, as we both believe, continue to go up in the long run. But right now, we're I feel just sort of stagnant. Like there's not heavy pressure either way, right this very second. And we just were hearing about inflation came in a bit better and other stuff. Like, what is it going to take at this point for us to get markets or crypto to rip? Everyone has always been using the word things are going to go parabolic at some point in this cycle, right? Now, maybe that's fall, right? But what do you think it'll take to really get things going? I mean, do we need to see Bitcoin just have like just some crazy stuff happen in the news and Bitcoin just rip past 110?
Road. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We need Amazon to switch and only accept Bitcoin.
There you go.
Imagine that if it was only accepted Bitcoin and crypto. It'd be, look at this. Action is not allowed. Action doesn't like us not responding to him in the comments. So he's like, all right, I'm going to start tinkering with things. I'm going to show my comments on the screen and I'm just going to type here. It's all right, Action. We love you.
Oh, no, he's right, though. We can't actually see some of these comments in comparison.
Yeah, for some reason,
like,
I don't think we ever see post in StreamYard.
That's sad. Pope and tariff.
Pope coin. Did someone make Pope coin? There's got to be a Pope coin.
Probably under there.
Go to Dex Screener. There's probably a Pope coin on Solana. There's probably like 15.
But he's saying that because of the Pope, that Bitcoin has been under the radar. The Pope's cool and all, but he's not making like massive movements on the money markets. So I don't think that countries are truly. I don't think nation states really care about who the Pope is right now.
And I don't think he's dominated the news.
He has kind of dominated the news.
Nah, I don't know.
If you look at any media outlet,
I saw more memes about the Pope, like Trump as the Pope and other things, than actual anything that.
Okay,
but they're memes. I'm not taking it as serious news. Like I'm like big deal.
But that's the thing is like you've seen more memes.
Are people really tuned into that? Like,
people.
Is Catholicism
if you're seeing more memes, well, yeah, but he's also the first American Pope, so of course it's going to take over American.
I was more interested. Wasn't his brother a DJ or something?
I don't know.
The Pope's brother was speaking out, like he's like, "Yo, the Pope used to live here. He's my brother," and he DJ'd or something along those lines.
He went to Villanova, so there's plenty of things I could say about.
That's it. I'm gonna have to share my screen, and maybe that's what the big deal is. Maybe they're waiting for this dude to drop beats,
bro,
and just totally make the church like a happening place and fun again. Sorry, I don't mean to knock on it. I'm just not really in that realm. That's why, to me, I didn't hear much stuff about the Pope, and I'm like, is that really moving markets much?
If you're looking at any news outlet right now, they've basically just been covering the Pope, how he's American, how there's so many people that want to talk about the fact that he's American. How many people are like, well, actually, there's all these
I don't watch
weird
mainstream
stories.
news.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You've only seen the memes that have really kind of like covered your news section versus like the quote unquote real media that's out there where they're just being like, did you know that the Pope's brother's cousin also went to school with this other guy who did some stuff in the 80s? And you're like, congratulations on that news that did nothing for anyone.
But I mean, like, I like the realm of news that I'm in much better, which involves things like that, man,
That's the best part. I actually need to.
Oh, this is so bad. I search for Pope DJ and I get like Pope calls for the end of the war. Like, how's he going to do that with techno or drum and bass? Like, what is he dropping? Let's see.
Dropping the beat.
Dropping the beat. No, I mean, I could imagine if I turned on, CNN or a major thing that they're talking about that, but they're probably just talking about it to the degree of until something else is, I don't know.
No, the media doesn't. Media is not even remotely. They're not connected, and they don't want to do anything with crypto. They don't really want to talk about crypto. Although I did see Randy Hipper on, I think it was like Fox or something like that the other day, which is kind of cool. But other than that, no, they don't care. Like nation states are taking advantage of the fact that like most of our news outlets are just never going to talk about this kind of stuff. El Salvador literally has schools where they're teaching kids how to how to learn how to mine Bitcoin, how to do it more efficiently, what ASICs are. And in the United States, we're just like, yeah, my kid goes to public school. I don't know if there's a teacher there teaching them, but my kid's probably at that school, I think. Like that's the kind of like, what if you're relying on the US for the information that you want about the future of like economies and such, I'm sorry, you're looking in the wrong place unless you're looking at the very top of the line.
No, I mean, I'll agree with you. I'm wondering though if with the country getting more pro crypto or pro Bitcoin, pro digital assets, whatever it might be, and we get framework and some framework or some, just something in place, right? Will that then change the overall demeanor, or do you think there's still a large part of the population that's going to be not accepting it, where it's not be getting, like you said, because the thing is I think education is a huge part of this. And the more people actually know the way things work, why they're being done, you feel safer about investing or using the technology. Now we know cell phones had such a huge adoption curve, right? Like on it, like it was super quick. And they say crypto is like that as such, but I think it's on a very small subset of the population. So even with ETFs out for Bitcoin over a year, and these things like we haven't even the topic like Robinhood, and even with the president and that World Trade Finance or whatever they're doing, if we get solid black and white framework so people know a direction, what you could do, what you can't, do you think that we'll have that big shift of people looking to get into digital assets then? You think there's a lot of people just on the sideline waiting?
No, I don't think there's a lot of people on the sideline waiting. I think that there's a lot of people who just don't care right now.
They're not, they don't care. Is it they don't care because they just don't know and they're just uneducated? And it's sort of this thing they hear like, oh, it's sort of like hearing about monopoly money.
No, it's like when you have a bunch of when you have the whole entire United States and you have a city, and that city has a football stadium. Not everyone in that city even remotely cares that there is a football stadium where people are going to go play. Like they couldn't care less. They probably don't even know the name of the team that's in their own city.
They're just upset with the traffic it causes.
Yep. Exactly. That's how I view a lot of the people who just haven't quite understood or even taken the time. That's a good
analogy for crypto holders.
Yeah, crypto. Because right now, a lot of people, whenever they hear crypto, they're like, what are you guys doing with it? You're just messing up the world. You're just screwing things up. Okay.
I heard that from family for over 10 years. And then now I'm starting to hear Bitcoin's over 100,000. I was like, yeah, remember I told you at like 17K might be a good time to pick it up. How long ago was that? Just a little over a year.
Family asked me about where all my Bitcoin was. And I was like, where my computer was at my dad's house? And they're like, oh, yeah. Whenever you were gaming all the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, he threw it away. And they're like,
oh, you could be you could be like that guy that's going through the landfill looking for the computer. You're not into that, like looking homeless.
I couldn't even remotely try and figure out.
No,
we're talking like how many times has my small town switched the waste management and where it's going?
You'll be landfill hopping.
Like literally,
I'd hire like a ton of Amish from the area and just disperse them amongst all the landfills. And I'd say, instead of building barns, you're going to dig here. And
for computers.
Yeah, like whatever an old school computer is, like a Micron. Like you find this old Micron computer tower that's 4 feet tall, pull it off on the side. All right. I'll ping and check the serial number.
I think it's great because some of those towers were like massively.
No, they were. I know, because one of my first towers that I used for gaming
was airflow, but still
it was about 3 feet tall. Like it was half my height, like the first tower I had, and it was only to support playing at the best graphics possible for Quake. the original Quake 1.
Oh,
You know, like the end of the
okay.
90s type of thing. So yeah, it was a beast of a computer. But yeah, no, that's the kind of machines that they'd be pulling out of the landfill.
Do you know what, Dodger Blue? Thank you. Thank you so much. The fact that you can openly state that you have no idea how to get a SoFi Stadium.
You know what? But the thing is that
and could care less.
I think he wants to go to a game, but the issue is that he has no idea, but he also has a Tesla. So like Action, he'll just put that in and just hit go and then just be like, oh, I have no idea where I am, but look I'm at the game. You know? At least look at Action. We see your message beforehand on the screen before he puts it through. I love it. Yes, he's driving for suckers. I can't believe Action wrapped his Tesla.
What do you mean?
He wrapped it in yellow.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
No.
What do you mean? Why not?
I don't know. For the cost to make it yellow too.
Do you know what? I feel like if I had a car where I knew that there was a chance that someone was going to try and damage it, I would also wrap it in something completely different in the hopes that even if it does get damaged, well, it's yellow, so it sticks out.
If someone was
and you can go get it.
The only reason I would wrap, I'd wrap to get a color in matte because I'm a big fan of like matte colors. But if it was, you get dings and stuff like that, to get it touched up by auto reconditioning, because I've worked in the auto industry on and off for a long time, way cheaper than either fixing a wrap or getting it wrapped initially. But
what's your favorite matte color? Like Matt Damon?
Matt Damon. Potato. Sorry. South Park reference from like the first season, probably. No, black. I'm just matte black, just boring matte black is the color I like. So that'll be the next color of my next car. But I can't justify getting a car just yet because
that took him so long to find the name of his car color, and we can tell that he just spaced it in. I'm sorry. That's good.
So I'm trying to see. I might have to share my screen here. Not that there's. Actually, we should make Action do it, because there was some stuff like tweets from Robinhood that I guess they're going to acquire. What was it? WonderFi.
No, I believe they already acquired WonderFi.
Well, they have an agreement to do it, so I guess that basically means it's done. With how fast you could transfer crypto.
Yeah,
you could buy things pretty quickly.
5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, so this could be done in the duration of our sentence. Oh, look at this! Here we go. We got, what is it? What was the guy, like you were saying? What's his name from Rogan? What was his name? Jamie.
Yeah,
he calls to Jamie to pull stuff up. We just call to Action, like you were saying.
I like
it. So, thank you.
Efficient system.
Efficient system. Loading the news cycle for us. No, but they're taking over taking it over for 179 million. Maybe it's just me, but why does 179 million just seem really cheap? Like it's not a lot of money. For some reason, everything I hear in crypto is like hundreds of millions or billions, and I'm talking such large numbers. But
do you know why?
If this is,
like it's not a lot of money, because I bet you that WonderFi was drowning in debt.
Okay.
Like they had to be drowning in debt, or the amount of money that they said that they have in the back end was not true. So they needed a company.
Look at Action Flow. The deal values WonderFi shares at a 41% premium over their closing price. So you know what? I think this might actually boil back to something we kind of been referencing the last few months, and it coincides with a lot of less of us talking about memes and those things, is projects and businesses having to have revenue, cash flow, actually be making money to have value, and having speculation or speculative stuff is only going to get you so far, and that hype's only going to get you so far. So in purchasing this, they probably actually looked at the books. You know what I mean? And if you have something that, yeah, we have this huge market cap, but they're making like $4,000 a year in profit or losing 20 grand a year, why would somebody spend hundreds of millions or billions? So that there has to be some sort of market share, some sort of like, if it's a wash, there's
So you're
other
saying
things in
it's
there.
the reverse, and that they're just very new, and that they just started making revenue, and
Yeah,
that
I think
because they're still so new, it's just Robinhood's way of kind of entering the market.
yeah, I think that
They
the
bought
dollar figure,
eyeballs.
the
They
dollar
bought
figure maybe,
eyeballs.
but
Can
yeah,
you go a
that
little
that could
bit
be it too.
deeper on that one? They bought eyeballs. The only thing that I could think of was like a witch walking down a supermarket aisle and just picking out a jar of eyeballs. So, not very appealing image. What do you mean, bud?
What?
I don't know. Action said they bought eyeballs. That was the first thing that came to
Well, I'm gonna go check over in this this Arena app, because you have to have it open while it's going too. And there's actually there's 22 people in there, which is pretty cool. So I appreciate everyone viewing and checking in on the Arena app. And yeah, leave a comment or something over there, and let us know what the audience and whoever views through there, you guys would like to talk about in here too, because I know, especially like we mentioned with gaming earlier, gaming seen with Avalanche, I've just seen like a huge push with gaming. Toki's just, you're the man with gaming. That's your wheelhouse. So we definitely love to touch upon that as well, to everyone in Arena. And this is pretty cool. I like the system here. I mean, I get that they do stuff with the tipping and the tickets and that, and I look at that. There's a few tips in there, and I really appreciate it. If not, it's interesting how that works, and I see a lot of people supporting each other through that, and that's cool. So
I
can continue to dig in on that and see how that
it was
that
actually pretty
goes.
cool you showing me the app when we were in Dubai, because I frankly I had heard about it previously, but again I thought it had died, and so I really did not expect it to be around, and then seeing kind of
It
like the
has
new
these
life that
it has
it
these
brought to it.
waves, yeah. Like it just
Yeah, no,
had
it's pretty
another wave
cool.
of it, and I really have to credit, or you give credit where credit's due. The reason that I hopped on there is mainly because of Big Red and their tie
It's hard
with
not to.
AVAX, and I see that they've been doing their streaming parties for for the horse racing through there, and I think it was in Dubai. It was really late, and there was a horse race, and they're like, "Oh, we're on Arena." I was like, "Ah." I'm the person that's so paranoid in crypto that wallet things will happen, hacks, this, that. I have every form of security possible, and I don't like connecting apps to other apps, and I like to create specific logins. But the only way to actually connect was using your X account. So I finally caved in after like 3 months of putting it off, and it was during that race. During that watch party, I did it. A bunch of people followed, and yeah, now we're just streaming through there. And then you and Action hopped on there, and we'll see what kind of community we could build and take part on there. But I do know Big Red has a large following on there, and they're having tons of streams with the horse racing. And just the other night, our horse won.
That was a crazy
So
race.
so
That
that's
was
just
crazy.
so yeah, it's that's the thing that, like, when I went out to the race, I like wasn't expecting from that position to win, didn't really do whatever. And then this is sort of the thought going into this last one, and then just smoked everyone and won. And
By like a few lengths.
yeah, and look, it's great to win in those things, because obviously, as the rewards go and as there's more races, they'll trickle back. But just being part of that community, and us all, from the beginning, not having any horses, to getting the horses, to now getting races going, to seeing some more wins, and being part of that is just is a great experience. I mean, I hold, I don't even know how many other coins or tokens, right? And even the ones that are some memes that have great communities don't have that extent of that activity you could do or go do. And then even with some of my bigger cap projects that are straight investments that are making me money, that's all they are. They're just numbers. They're like, I bought this amount of token and I want it to go to this price, and this is my buy and sell strategies, and that's it. There's no substance to it, as far as, like, I don't know, emotionally like involved in outside of the financial aspect. So that's what's awesome about the, Big Red and those races. And yeah, like I said, that's what brought us into, or at least brought me into Arena, and then I dragged you guys in too. And we'll see how that goes. So might as well push it through there. Everyone has their their preference. Everyone picks their own poison as far as how they like to view things or listen or get their content. So I think it's just easy for us to push it through all of them. So yeah.
Hey, it's fun time.
What shirt do you have on there? IFC shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun experience in Dubai for Casey. Doors opened a little late, but that was insane. We had an insane desk. So many good people hopped on there. And I've been talking to a few just continuously since that night on the side. And a couple of them, I told them to schedule that, there's nothing during Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. But a couple, I'm not going to say exactly who, might come out for Miami's for the opening. And that would be pretty significant because there's no other events. They'd be flying out just for the opening of Bonk Stadium and the event. Yep. So hopefully we're going to have a couple really big KOLs out for that, and then have the desk. These things just come up so fast. We got to book Vegas today as well. That's less than 2 weeks. So someone was asking what IFC. So that's part of Karate Combat Influencer Fight Club. Last year I was running Influencer Fight Club, and then this year they did a couple fights. I was just helping, with the desk and Karate Combat sort of stuff, and not IFC. And now we're going to see what happens, if IFC will do some more fights or not, or who will do that. Time will tell. We'll see. But yeah. Now
I know there's quite a few people, especially on my contact list, that have been reaching out, trying to see what's going to be happening at Bonk Stadium, because they want to know any kind of news possible. They want to know who's going to be fighting. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone. Well, the biggest thing is like confirming the date. I'm like, as far as I know, everything's June 20th. That's going to be the go ahead. And then, they're trying to find out if there's going to be other stuff going on. I mean, I'm very close with KC, and they tend to leak or tell me information, and I don't leak it unless I'm allowed to, say it. But just for the record, there's nothing that I know has really changed at this point outside of it's just the date. Nothing really changes. The 20th. Hold on 1 second. There's something interesting going on. Hold it down for 1 second.
Okay.
Oop, not that.
Wrong way.
Oop.
Okay. We'll see what happens. I wonder if he knows his mic is still on. It's fine. Now, as far as some of the gaming stuff that's coming up, I am actually pretty excited. If you guys have not heard, King Snooch, he just went out to PAX East and was exploring the conference. Friday, we got to see him going around and talking to some of the conference goers, including a Wolverine Peely. If you guys have ever seen Fortnite, you would definitely know what I'm talking about right now. Scott, I think one of the weirdest things that you've seen as far as Fortnite goes was the half zombie Peely at the Lego shop.
Wait, the which one?
The half zombie banana guy.
Oh,
at the Lego store.
Yeah, I'm like, that Lego store kind of blew me away because I saw so many things in there that I've never seen before. Not on the site, not anywhere else.
Crazy thing. Oh yeah, actually, you were there whenever we got picked up. The one picture that I took of the random flower thing was also the same exact one inside the museum in Philadelphia that we had just got sent a picture of. So that was actually really cool.
I was looking at all the comments here. Everyone wants to know, is there going to be a dab fest in Vegas? Actually, I was waiting to hear back and trying to get in touch with this venue, and I'll give them a call again later just to see there was some availability to do something to get some people together. But the truth be told is that you got to get sponsors to kind of cover that so that it's affordable, for all the people that want to go. And just with the desk in June, and lots of things like we're talking to a lot of people, but we don't want to spread ourselves too thin, and might have to. Well, regardless, everyone who's in Vegas, we will get together if you want to get together, and we'll take over a spot, I'm sure, or take over someone else's event because we're good like that. But I'll call this venue and just see if it's plausible to do. Still,
Sounds good.
yeah, but we do have to book our tickets because there's lots of people I know who are watching that already even have their conference tickets and everything. So.
No, I've definitely seen it. I know yesterday people were already getting their tickets as far as emails go, and then yeah, we'll see what happens in the near future there. I know that you and Action are supposed to be going. I don't know what's going to be happening on my front. So
Well, I assume you are going now that you're probably not going to the other conference overseas. I just figured that would be the case
we'll see.
because the three of us have just been kind of just going places and crushing it. And I actually thought that you would probably do Vegas up into that last day unless you had to be there earlier because it was the other event started, I think, the next day. It technically started like on Friday.
But I think it takes 2 days to get there because there's nothing direct.
Bitcoin was actually like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you'd left on Thursday, you would land Friday night because it's not as far as you think. The time difference is is decent, but with the flight, it's no more than 24. So Thursday would get you there Friday night, basically get you, So I figured with Bitcoin being just how everyone loves to go to the Bitcoin conference, that you would figure something out. But hey, you might now just be able to do Bitcoin conference. And with the cost of plane tickets to get to Vegas right now, even with it in 2 weeks, for anyone who's still trying to, thinking about doing it. I mean, for me, it's under $300 right now if I book today.
Yo, $50 Spirit. I got you.
Hey, if that's what it takes to go. Look, and for anyone watching, if you're interested to go to Bitcoin, I don't even know how much the passes are, but you could ask most people, like even when we went, it's like if you went next year and didn't actually go to Token, would you be disappointed? No. There's some booths, you walk around, it was crowded. Same with Bitcoin. You walk around, see some people, ask some questions. But the thing is if you really tap into all the side events, the different projects doing events and reach out and sign up for the Lumas, you could cover a lot of ground for like close to nothing. Just the cost of you going out there, the cost of, your Ubers and a couple things like that. So the tickets for Whale Passes start at $3,500. No, what is this? What exactly is a festival pass? What is this for? This can't be Bitcoin.
Yeah, this is the resale platform.
How Bitcoin, they were offering tickets for less than $200? Like general admission? That doesn't sound right. That's at $195 for a festival pass. What's a festival pass? There's no way. Did they really do that poorly in ticket sales that there's a ticket that cheap? I thought the tickets were always like much more than that.
Couldn't say. Looks like they.
This is where our version of Jamie just pulls up random stuff and we're surprised. 384. Okay, so it's starting at 195 really made it at 299.
Someone priced to sell is what I'm hearing.
Okay, yeah. So 194. So that's the thing is somebody's like, what? They can't go, so they're like, I got to get rid of this. So now everyone's just going to like undercut everybody. So it says ticket price increases in 3 days, 14 hours. I'm looking on the site. I don't have my screen shared. Action can pull up the actual Bitcoin price if you want. So look at Festival Pass is $599, Industry Pass $2,000, Whale Pass bundled with Bitcoin Week Pass $12,000, and Bitcoin Week Pass After Party bundle. I guess you get the after party for $800. So it starts at $700.
This is the second or third bump up so far in pricing.
Yeah, but I guess all those cheap tickets through that that other site is people who probably realize they can't go now and they're just trying to recoup whatever they can. Hey, you know what's funny about the Bitcoin site? My computer is so locked down that when I pulled this up right here, the website like blocker warning was just like, psst, this is trying to use like this port or whatnot. It's like, no, we don't like that. Yeah, Bitcoin conference, I'm watching you. So, oh, there you go. So we could use the code Genzio for a discount to go in, and hopefully, if I use Genzio as a discount, it becomes free because we're media. I hope so. I hope. No, but yeah, no, we're gonna make our way out there. I'm sure you're going to as well. It's interesting how it falls because you have Memorial Day, which is on that Monday, and the conference is actually on Tuesday. So it means that everyone that we know is going to be forced to get in at the very latest, like Monday afternoon, Monday evening, because Tuesday will be that what, like industry day. Not everyone will be allowed in.
And, the VIP industry day.
Yeah, and there'll probably be an opening party that night or Monday night. So, and I know for like you, myself, Action, we're probably going to end up coming in like early Sunday because we're traveling with flight cases, gear, have to set up stuff for streaming for that entire week, which is at noon in that time zone, and then calculate all the interviews and other things we're doing, without there being a karate combat fight or a CFN fight. Yeah, it's Pacific time, I believe, Vegas.
So
9 a.m. Sorry. It'd be noon for
like...
yeah. We'd be doing it bright and early there before even going to stuff. So, but there's just a lot of there's just going to be a lot of stuff that
there's a lot of
we'll
moving
have
parts.
to do.
Yeah,
it's just be slightly different type of trip. Kind of like the Eat Denver stuff with lots of interviews, talking with projects, trying to get the alpha of what everyone's planning for the rest of the year.
Bitcoin conference, though. Some of the side events that we got to attend, especially Action and I at last year's Bitcoin conference, they are just significantly better, more professional. It's just genuinely
the bigger
well
ones,
done. Oh yeah, but even like I'm trying to think of the specific one that we went to. They were.
It was the DNA house.
The Bitmain one.
Okay, I didn't do that one now.
It was amazing. They were absolutely stellar hosts for the whole entire thing. And then the DNA one, which is where I
even
got
the
this house.
Conference's closing party, after party, which was on that rooftop, had the cigar rollers and all that stuff. And no, you're right. I think that there's a. It's probably compared to a lot of these other ones. There's a lot of money behind some of those networking and side events there. But this Bitcoin conference will be a little bit lonely because there's no karate combat, there's no big fighting type of things. It's going to be, more project and networking events, which is fine. I mean, everyone we know goes out to Bitcoin. It's just like token.
You say lonely, but there's still going to be a bunch of mining guys out there, and there's going to be a bunch
even
of
more so than that. There's like 20,000 people out there. I mean, say lonely in that whole fight thing aspect that's getting tied to the thing. There's a lot of like people who go out to that, where this is now going to be more just
start our own like
events.
Bitcoin Fight Club and see what happens.
Bitcoin Fight Club, where you go and you put miners on your hands and you hit each other with miners.
We'll go get Keith. We'll find a random gym, and then we'll just have him pick fights with people until he loses.
No, what we need to do is get a whole bunch of people like on manual treadmills that they're running to power up a miner to try to see how much human energy it takes to like mine yourself $10.
That would actually be pretty awesome.
What is this? Hold on.
What is what?
I have 6 tickets I'm reselling. I know Blue last year early on bought like a whale pass because he was like, you know what? I'm balling next year. We're going to be in a bull run. We're all going to be just rich. And now he's just like, oh, I guess I'll keep the whale pass and I'll sell these 6 other tickets I have. If you really have 6 tickets, yeah.
Why are you outing that guy?
That's my boy. That's my boy. He should.
That's my boy, Blue. Yeah.
If I had 6 tickets and they're selling for $600, I'd undercut. I'd be like, oh, I got these 6 tickets for $500. Especially if you got them on like the super early price on the whatever, So
you're just helping Blue out.
Yeah, I'll help advertise for him. I'll do that for everyone out there too. So I got you. Man, so what else have we been missing that's going on as far as Bitcoin and crypto news? I feel like I must be missing something because
Well, that's
Action's just covering up the screen.
no, that would be our man King Snooch. This actually looks like Dane in the background, and this looks like the conference. I think it's everything that's going on right now in Toronto.
So Futurist and Consensus start today. And you know what? We were very, very smart. We just kept quiet this last week and flew under the radar, and nobody asked us, for our information and what days we'll be staying in Toronto. So we managed to dodge this trip right now after all the traveling and Dubai.
They asked Action. He couldn't escape.
They asked him just because the San Francisco thing fell through. They're like, Action, you got to come here. And he's just like, I'm sick. That's why he's still pretending to be sick, because he just doesn't want to be there. Right, Action? Pretending to be sick. You're doing a good job. You're doing a very good job. Almost like method acting.
I'm trying. I appreciate it.
So look at that method acting. I'm trying. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
I'm sick. So anyways, Action is going to start. Action's got a movie coming out this summer because he's just so good.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, he didn't get his
I'm
try
waiting for
acting.
my refill.
Hear the ghost in the background, the sickly ghost trying to wait for his triactin refill. Yeah, so as we know, Action's just kind of got to keep this going to the end of the week, and once the conferences are over, he'll magically be better. And then next week he'll feel like $1 million because we're all going to Bitcoin. Yep, and that's it. See you later, everyone.
The amount
that was Jamie. That was quick. That's it. Action's new. We're gonna have to just come up with it.
Do what I can. This is actually the dream for me. Not having
this is the dream.
And just doing stuff in the background.
He's the video switcher. The video switcher. Oh,
now,
I like it.
What's best about some of this stuff is I know we're going to have some commercials coming up. And so if this is really how the future goes, I'm sure Action would love to just rug us to go to commercial. Like, I'm sure he has one already. Like,
the best part about
Action's
blatant self-promotion is that it's on my YouTube channel. Check it out. I'm Rugged Toki with the commercial. And it's like, oh, people are going to go to my channel and be like, who's this Action guy?
Isn't that awesome?
All 4 people that use YouTube nowadays. Jeez, so bad.
Hey,
I used to love YouTube and use it, but even personally, I only use it to go there for specific things. Most of the people that I watch that were streaming there, I catch once in a while, or I'm actually watching in like a tab open in X sometimes, or listening.
So you don't have their notifications
in the background
anymore?
I do for some of them.
You don't have Action's notifications on anymore?
I do, but I'm always streaming with him, so it's just kind of annoying that as soon as he hits live, it immediately
your phone starts going off.
Yeah, my phone starts going off. I'm like, great, one more. Sorry, I was gonna say I can't. It's my channel. I can't even drop the F-bomb too much. Yeah, these notifications. I'm like, what's going on here? So,
my guy.
Speaking of which, I just looked at my phone. There's like 60 notifications. The best part about having this is my little. What really blocks my chain, grinds my gears, is that you use a calendar to block off time to say that you're busy or there's different things going on.
And someone just blatantly ignores it.
People just know. They see like, oh, you got stream at this time. You have meetings at this time. Let's just fire off a bunch of texts. Let me send you some emails since you didn't respond to the text. Wait, I'm going to try to call just in case that text and that email didn't go through. I gave you a heads up that I was trying to get in contact, but wait, let me ring you. I'm like, really? And then you know what? When there's that free time, right afterwards, nothing.
Yeah, they vanish.
Nothing. That's it.
It was that important. You just had to disappear.
I wished all those messages and stuff was like, yo, get in early. We got the contract. This is going to go up. And then I got in, and then an hour later, it's 100x. But it isn't. It's like, random other stuff. So
Call me back about my car insurance.
That's what really grinds my gears, blocks my chain. I don't know, really bits my coin.
Really bits my coin. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna start sending you pieces of pennies. See what you do.
You got those like good scissors that you could cut the pennies in half?
Yeah, I do actually.
What are those? Cutcos? Cutco makes ones that you cut pennies in half, no problem.
Those are pretty good.
That's how they sold my family a set when I was growing up. When they went they came to your house or you knew someone, they're like, you got to buy these knives. They're awesome. And you're like, all right, what could they do? And then they're like, we're gonna cut money in half in front of you first. And you're like, ooh. And then they cut like a penny in half, and I'm like, that's it, sold.
Need it.
Yeah, done. That or when the steak knife they have cuts like an inch thick piece of leather, they're like, all right, we can kill some people with this. Let's get these knives. No, I can't say that on YouTube. Not me, in a movie scene if it was doing it. So, but yeah, that's how they sell those knives door to door. You know what the funny thing is? I think more people have Cutco knives than people have cryptocurrency.
Ooh.
I
bet that's true. Wait,
it is true.
Should we be going door to door and selling Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know about
you want to go door to door and sell Bitcoin with me?
We need the angle. Like for those knives and scissors, they cut a penny in half, right? So how could we have that sham wow moment with Bitcoin?
We'll
how do we have
physical
that moment?
Bitcoins to people like they sell the gold dollars to people?
We'll go door to door and then you cut them in half with the scissors. And then say,
no, we're not going to cut them in half.
If you could guess the last two words of your seed phrase, you get this. That's it, everyone. We need to come together and figure out how to market Bitcoin better together.
I agree. I still say that we go get a bunch of just, some really cheap metal and then just, slam on a nice good. Oh my gosh, that is insane.
Opened in 1940, over 16 million. So
only been able to track customers since 97. Only since 97.
Look at that. If every person who purchased Cutco knives had owned one Bitcoin, we'd almost be out of supply. Wait a minute. Does that mean that's it? I want my set of Cutco knives to go over 100K. They're very limited. There's 16 million of them.
Yeah, but they're still printing those.
Maybe new models. The old ones got to be deflationary at this point.
I can't even argue with that.
Not financial advice, anyone. But those scissors and knives, they lasted my entire life so far. They're still going. I might actually pick up more Bitcoin when I decide to sell off those scissors at a huge gain.
I think you'd be better off selling your cast iron. Actually, don't sell your cast iron because it's still useful. But
I need to really I need to be using those more often. Get some steaks.
You're gonna love this one, and I think this is probably one of the better points to close on. I was looking at one of those things as far as how much is your house worth in Bitcoin, and of course I was like, do you know what? Maybe I'll just see how much my house would be worth in Bitcoin. And I was just like, okay, I'll go look at this. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's worth over 3 Bitcoin. I'm okay with that. Like I'd happily start selling my house for Bitcoin at this point. Let's just get rid of the house. Let's just have Bitcoin instead.
I have to see if he commented back, because somebody had made talking about buying a house is overrated and buying property. And the thing is, I feel like if you pay rent, you're still essentially paying the property taxes because the owner's passing that on to you, right? So the argument comes with, say, holding Bitcoin. Does it make more sense if you're able to put, a couple $100,000 into buying a home? Does it make more sense to just hold all that money in Bitcoin and then just rent and maybe slowly sell off if you have? Because in the duration of time rented over the course of years, will Bitcoin go up in such a amount that it, covers that rent and would be more affordable than that initial money going into a house and maturing over that same amount of time,
So
Um,
let's say you're averaging like an 8% on that.
because if you got a loan for like 350 400,000, it's basically like a $2,500 a month mortgage. And then you also have say taxes are at least 1,000 a month in most cities, for something along that value. You add another, you're at 3,500, you're at like 36, you're at like 40 something thousand, right, a year. I'm doing like really rough math. I should actually just pull out a calculator.
No, you're like getting fairly on par if you're sticking to like adjust at the 400,000 mark. So let's say that you have, let's say that I sold,
Say $42,000 a year. So $2,500 mortgage, $1,000 a year for taxes. That's not. We'll even say that there's no mortgage insurance and homeowners insurance is included in that. So
okay,
$42,000 a year, right? So you're paying out 42 grand a year in rent, and you got to do some initial money. Like, let's just say the equivalent of what that mortgage would be in Bitcoin. So say 350,000 in Bitcoin. Say like 3.5 Bitcoin at value right now. 3.5 Bitcoin, purchasing 3.5 Bitcoin at 100K right now, and then paying rent going forward, or buying your house outright and just living life that way, or some combination in between.
but I'm thinking
home
of
ownership
like,
versus 20% down, maybe.
I'm thinking 8% up as far as Bitcoin goes. So let's say that 400,000. So let's say just 4 Bitcoin outright.
Mhm.
So 4 times 8, pretty easy. That's 32. Sure, it's not quite as much as you have to put into the rent. It doesn't quite offset it. So
Probably
that's,
depends on the part of the cycle or the way the economy is.
it really would
'cause
depend on where you are in the
fluctuates.
cycle. That's for sure. Because other times you're up 30%, and that's completely completely different.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to sell off part of the Bitcoin in order to pay, that rent over the course, you obviously sell a little bit more if you see it's on a higher point. But yeah, so somebody had posted something and I commented. So I'm like, you think right now, it's like, because if I'm going to sell my property, for example, right? Do I just go and buy a house, dumb down my monthly expenses so my overhead is really low, or do I take all that money and put it all into Bitcoin and then rent, or get a mortgage and be spending $5,000 a month on a mortgage and taxes and have all that Bitcoin? And then, will Bitcoin go from 100,000 to 500,000 in 10 years? If it does, and you're able to buy, let's say 10 Bitcoin, then you 5x that. $1 million worth of Bitcoin becomes, 5 million worth of Bitcoin. But in the course of 10 years, at 5,000 a month, which is 60K a month, 600, so 60K times 12.
See, Dodger
What
Blue.
I mean?
Yeah, the Dodger Blue literally in the comments is like, this is what I want to learn at Bitcoin Vegas. This is exactly what we want to learn. This is the kind of stuff that we actually think about on the day to day. We should probably bring it more into these conversations by far.
But look at that. So
Yeah.
if you like, seriously, so if you think about that real quick, I know we're going past the hour
go
real
ahead.
quick, but if you're paying 5,000, a month times 12 months is 60K times 10 years is $600,000. And that's just saying if you're renting, or let's just say that's the mortgage with the taxes in there. If that's a mortgage and those payments are that high, 5,000 a month, which is like a $500,000 or $600,000 loan, you put $600,000 out over the course of 10 years. But if you had $1 million in Bitcoin, sure, it might make sense if it 5x, but you still have to pay that $600,000 over the course of the 10 years. So you'd have to sell off parts of the Bitcoin at the right time in order to make.
This is assuming that you are not making any more income either.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do it on straight numbers, because if you have a job and you're making, $100 grand a year or something, and you're like, all right, well, I could put $2,500 a month legitimately to a mortgage, and then I'll pay that other half of the mortgage with selling off a little bit my crypto. That's what I'm trying to see, is like where the number makes sense. And these are some of the things that I'm looking into, as well as if you have Bitcoin and you want to take a loan against it, at what rate do you take a loan? Could you take a loan? Could you use that to buy your house outright in cash? Do you wait the cycle out and wait for Bitcoin to go up enough that you could then kind of sell off what you owe in that loan, and then it's a wash, and then you end up sort of with your house for free because you took the loan at the right time and it went up. So like you had mentioned that Blue said, like, yeah, these are the things that I want to know more about, because how can I leverage my money? I think everyone looks at, you buy crypto cheap and hopefully 100x's and you become rich and you sell it. But along the way, there's ways to, someone who's good in finance will leverage the financial system to their benefit in order to make the most money with the least amount of money that they can. And, tying it up as well. So I want to figure out.
Sounds like we
ways
need
to
a
do
better
that.
AI to help us with all of this. Just for us.
There's some out there. I think these are some of the things we need to dive deep in and talk a little bit more about, because I know lots of people this cycle want to change where they live or move locations, and they're really hoping their crypto bags are going to do well. So I think there's other ways that we could figure out and research and try to help some people on the best financial ways of maybe leveraging your crypto to be in a better situation where you still maybe have custody of it, or instead of to just buy low and wait to at 100x's. Although I hope that happens for everyone overnight, but it hasn't yet. So I don't know.
Hey,
that's all
we're
I
on
got
our
on
own
the
journey. We'll get
rant.
there.
So yeah, that's all I got. What do you got for us? Anything?
I think I'm just excited for what's.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Gen Z is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a house.
No, we do not understand. Ladies and gentlemen.
Rebecca's Gen Z Media House.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.